Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome you in this broadcast. This broadcast is specially designed for those people who are giving exams tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and whenever they have an exam. Luckily, this strategic case study case this time and the next time is the same. So all information can be used this time and the next time as well. CIMA is because this is everyone knows what is CIMA, Chartered Institute of Management Accountant in UK, and this is the last exam, which is considered the most difficult and most technical. And in terms of its difficulty level, pass rate, everyone is always concerned as a student. So you should not be worried. If you are well prepared, you have finished your case, you have read it at least 5 times, you have all the information in your head, and of course, you have done a couple of practice sessions and mocks. No matter you are Berkeley student or not, it's your right to crack your exam in the first attempt. So here I'm going to give you some tips which will help you to pass your exam for sure. And based on the probability of the success rate or rates with our qualified students, really sure that these tips will definitely work for you. So let's go towards the case. This time, the case is really interesting, and we can move towards the case. I'm going to give you some tips. So, as we know already, um, that there are contents in the case study. I can, if it is bigger, it's make more sense. So how it goes is that every time you get a case, and this case always targets some industry, and this industry is always giving you some new insights. The beauty of the exam is that being a teacher, I can see that industry change, but the pattern of the question and the examiner understanding about certain topic remains constant. That makes it helpful that you can see like what are the most important areas for the examiner, and based on those areas we can work on to impress examiner, and can get better results from your better presentation of information. Now this time we have a case who is based on domestic central heating system. Now, those people who live in UK, USA, Europe, and in those countries where we have cold and we have hot, so they are all familiar with the central heating system. These systems are mainly powered by certain tools. It can be a boiler, it can be other source of energies, it can be solar, it can be electric, it can be a gas. So whatever country you are, whatever they have, some countries has gas, some country has petrol, some has coal, and some has solar. Sunlight is really good. So depending what they have a system based on that. So this particular case, as we already know that we don't define the country names like England or America. He says Northland, Farland, Eastland, Westland. So this is the way like Northland residential city heating market. So this is a section number one of your exam where you have to know the industry you are studying, and and then how it works. Then you have to think about, then you should know the company, which company the case is about, and then you have to know the competitor. So we can do some competitor analysis, and the questions are based on industry, your company, and the competitor, and opportunities, fears, risk. For example, what if this company we want to buy the competitors? Very common understanding to examine how we will bid it, how we value, what is the value of the business at this moment, what cash we have, what is the strategy, is it good to do an integration, what are the risks associated with our business. These are all important aspects of our discussion. And obviously, section two more into finance, and being a management accountant, of course, finance is always a very, very key area for scoring. So we will see what are the financial statements of the company that is in this case called Hotire, and board of directors, what risk they have, what they are doing to handle these risks, and what are the extract from competitors financial statement. Very important, so we can say what going on in industry, what the competitors doing, what we are doing, are we doing good, or competitors going good. So there are several things that we need to look into, and then of course we will be in a better situation for the strategic analysis of that. Always I give to all the students that when we are giving strategic exams, never think about operations and the management levels. Most of the students, what they do a mistake is when we are talking about strategy, they try to bring up in quickly, in excitement, they try to bring those areas which are related to management and operations, where unconsciously you break the confidence of the examiner, and examiner start thinking the who is marking your exam is starts thinking that you're not clear what is strategy, what is operation, and what is management. So always I advise the students that when you give an advice, in the case you analyze, make sure that it should be only strategic. There is no suggestion related to management and operation. Believe me, if you can control yourself, you can keep yourself strategic, you are pass at very first time. Now let's move forward, and we have share price, always a key area for examiner. We want to understand that do you have a concept of beta, and because beta always given in the case, and top of it we calculate unbeard beta, and then we see what is the up and down, when the share was higher, when it was lowest, what was the average, what they did, share went go up, what they did, share price go down. So these are all the important things that we are going to look into ourselves. Okay, so moving forward, we have, and there are always some extra information. So when you are going, so there is a pre-seen information, there is new information in the exam, and there is a case. So, and then there is a text in your mind. So always combine all these things when you do your exams. You should, when you write your response, you should have introduction paragraph, you have a closing paragraph. So between them, you have new information, you have old information, and then what is the examiner is exactly asking you in the question. So that's really, really important, and you need to make sure that you are exactly doing in a very systematic, organized way. You have pre-seen information which you need to reproduce in your exam in order to convince the examination marker who is marking your exam that you have understood your case, the pre-seen case very well, then you have a bookish knowledge, you know how to apply a specific framework, like for example, strategic frameworks, suitability, feasibility, and the other frameworks as well that you should know how to apply them. And of course, you should know the new information given to you, how it's going to affect the whole circumstances. That is really, really important. So we'll start with the section number one, which is more about your ecosystem and environment. Now, very important, these summarized text is for you. I wish and I advise if you can reproduce this in your section one. It will really, really help you to get more marks from the examination marker. And of course, it will convince the examiner that you have condensed the pre-seen case study information in a very nice way. So I will read it for you. I assume that you are a candidate who has already prepared your exam, so you have full knowledge of your pre-scene, you have done your practice sessions, and you have done a couple of mocks, and you are very clear about the textual requirement of the exam. Now, my video will help you and those half-cooked students who haven't prepared in the best of best way, but still they have courage to take a chance, and this chance is going to give you probability of success. So it's really condensed. This information need to be reproduced. So if you get a section number one, obviously you need to talk about industry. You have to talk about the hotel as a company when they formed, where they reach, what are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This very condensed and smart way, if you can write, I can ensure you that you will definitely go through your exam in this attempt. So I will read it for you, and you can make your notes and you can download this text after our broadcast. So, hot tire was found in 1952. Now, always when I read some case, I make myself year-wise progress of the company. For example, in 1952, this happened. 1967, they become listed in stock exchange, and in 1997, they become one of the best company to make air source heat pumps, indicating an ability to support an opportunity and offer more environmental friendly choices for the customers. It doesn't make ground source heat pumps because it seems them less commercially viable. So this information as a starting of your section number one, your question is going to tell the examination marker that you have understood your pre-scene. Whatever is the question, you have to reproduce some information in a condensed way to tell examiner that you understand what is an information, what is this company is about. So this information is really, really important. And of course, they have two factories. One is in Central City, employing 3,800 staff, which is really important information to mention in exam. In the manufacture of gas boilers, the other in Maxtown, at which employs 2,400 staff making heat pumps. So, and it has also a head office in Central City where 2,600 people work. All of these locations are in the city Nordland, which is the city where the company is based. So this information is also very, very important. We are talking about a large size corporations working in the energy sector, and this is really important. And very, very important to tell the marker examination marker that this company has two competitors, and Thermwick was also in the same country, which makes gas boiler and heat pumps that are slightly cheaper. So when they are cheaper, you can expect more sales. But maybe there is some quality issue. If you're higher, you're expensive, you have more quality. So these are all these strategies in open market. It's not only energy, it's about anything you buy. There's fine quality, there are normal quality, there are low quality items. We need to look around how it works. And heat pumps in that country. Now, hot focus on just two type of heating system, which is one is gas boiler and the other is air source heat pumps. It doesn't make anything else at present, for example, solar panels. And we need to make sure that there are new sources of energy which has to be mentioned in the paragraph, because examiner marker will be happy on it, that if he asks some strategic, obviously he is going to ask you a strategic question, and you have to propose your answer to the board directly. So always make sure that you know alternative sources of energy, which is solar is one of them, but it has its own limitation. Some countries are really cold, they don't have enough sunlight. So there is some other kind of panel required. Those countries who are sun rich, they require some other kind panels. And if you see the financial statements, we'll see in shortly in section 2, we have good sales for these products, more than heating pump and less from gas boilers, reflecting the global demand in is and forecast is changing. It also having significant change of sales, more revenue coming from exports, and less revenue is coming from the local sales. So this is the very key point. You have to mention it to make it very, very reliable and clear for the exam marker, that you know that if they want to improve the export, then there is a structure. You need to go country wise, you need to see which countries you can grow in. And if you are working, if your sale is declining in your own country, so what can be done in that way? This is the basic information you need to reproduce in your exam, so you can get the better response from the market. The company has a diversified customer base with sales made to the large energy providers such as Nordland Gas, large house buildings companies which need heating system for the home which they are constructing, and builders merchants who supply smaller firms such as plumbers and heating engineers. Very important information, again, need to be reproduced in the final exams. At present, the export market hot sells to are in the same overall geographic region. So you have a competitor, and its heat pumps are designed so that, as well as providing heating in winter, so they can also act as a air conditioning unit in the summer. This is the concept of inventor, where you have both options. So the same unit work as heater in winter, and they work the same in um, summer as the coolers. So both these kind of inventor are getting really popular. The heat pumps can be connected to the homeowner's home, so Wi-Fi control fridge, boilers, and other things we are using heavily. So smart homes concept came, and we say off the boiler get off. So Wi-Fi based are getting popular, and it enables the hotelier to monitor the use and performance of the pumps, and also allows for any soft upgrades that become available to improve efficiency. So that's the key point which relate to the information technology section. So when you go for your risk and mitigations, you can see that being an online connected to Wi-Fi can create a cybersecurity issue where you can lose your data. Hackers can play around with your data. It's not that noise. So we need to put some cybersecurity risk. And we already saw in the case that the IT committee is not focused, and the cyber risk need to be taken in consideration. And the very hot thing that we have to mention, which is very good from a cyber from an environment point of view, where all the world is focusing on saving the environment, making it green and carbon free. So the government of Nordland also trying to make things more environment friendly. So once they change the policy, it's gonna hit hot the company financial returns and production demand and so many things. So a possible issue can arise to a business, as mentioned in a newspaper article, that the government of Nordland has committed by 2040. So we are now in 2022. So there are a couple of years they will transform. So we have to make our strategic plan accordingly. That's what is called strategic case study, where you have an interesting scenario and situation is changing, and where you can work more on the uh, such things like strategy. So consumer are also demonstrating the increased demand for heating systems that are based on renewable energies in order to be more environmentally friendly, and while cost are an important factor. It's likely to result in a greater demand for heat pumps and reduced demand for the gas boiler, in which the company really excels. Now, because I live in London, so I received call a couple of times to switch my energy to the other provider, and sometimes I receive a call that our electricity is based on is made from carbon-free elements. So we give a weightage, even it's a bit expensive, but you are satisfied that you are helping environment. So this kind, my consumer type of mine, I've seen a lot who are really concerned about environment. So obviously there is a great scope for those companies who will work on green friendly energies. A customer with heat pumps can use an app on their smartphones to track the energy captured by the pumps. Anything like, you make a software installation, it gives you statistics. These statistics, you can use them for your decision making purposes. Hotwire is available to access such data via Wi-Fi. Strong IT controls are required, as I told you, that it is really required that you should have a strong IT controls to prevent hacking and accessing data, because big data is the power. So if you will not look into your IT data protection, cyber security, ransomwares, you have to save yourself from there. That is the more important part, which will come in section 3. Hot Air has seen a growth in its share price of approximately 140% since May 2019. It's possible that some of its shareholders invest due to environmentally friendly nature of its product, as I rightly told you that people like us and environment friendly people who has a better power of spending, they will definitely value those companies who are environmental friendly. So this is really important to mention in the exam. A problem with the gas boiler can be very serious consequences in terms of gas leakage, which is very, very dangerous, harmful, and an explosion can also take place. We need to deploy some extra security, which require extra cost. Heating systems are dependent either directly or indirectly. So on gas and oil as a source of power, both which can be used to generate electricity. These are commodities with global prices can be impacted by international events like war, pandemic. So, in this exam, no need to mention the energy crisis in now from Ukraine and the Russian war. That's always not the scope of our discussions. Even in pandemic or COVID-19, we don't need to mention in the exam unless examiner really put this point in front of you, and then you have to respond. You have no choice to respond. Don't bring any such point. So let's move towards the next slide. And uh, hot tires product require a speedy supply of components and also materials such as steel, copper, and aluminium. Supply chain delays could result in product delays and not being able to meet customer demand on time. This can be a supply chain management issue, and this need to be um, uh, highlighted. And furthermore, material prices also can fluctuate, so you need a proper MRP system, material requisition planning system, so you can buy in bulk, save yourself, do some hedging, create an alternative sources of supplies, and this all will save you from a lot of trouble. Tires is both as exporter of finished goods and importer of materials. So it's all depend like they import, they process, plant, and deliver the final goods. Now, cyber attacks can be a serious threat to the company. I told you already because there are apps and Wi-Fi, and we need to protect it. And it's our main point in strategy when we do something. In the most recent time, innovation in system with a better carbon footprints has been getting more and more popular, including air and ground source heat pumps, solar panels, and biomass, which produces energy from the waste. And you can, so these are more environment friendly. A lot of companies are trying to work, produce. Obviously, the power of the diesel and fuel obviously is not comparable so far, even with any kind of other sources. But sometimes you need enough power. You don't need too much power. So when you don't need too much power, you can manage with enough power with alternative sources. It's the way you can work on. So this is a very important information to reproduce. Forecast for the heating system from 2015 to 2030 shows a dramatic shift. Global sales of domestic heating is moving rapidly towards the more environmental friendly. So there's no choice with the company. That's for sure that they have to go for those sources who are environment friendly. Heat pump, solar, thermal panels will be the most popular, although it will have its own challenges and consequences. Now, when you are talking about import and exports, you're talking about fluctuation, interest rates, and exchange rates. So obviously, one way is to save yourself is to do some kind of hedging. This hedging can be can save you from adverse price changes. So, like every company, Hotshires is also has suffering from exchange rates, which will impact the imported supplies. Interest rate will also impact. So you need to know a board should consider whether strategic responses to these changes should be accelerated. Now, this is the information I pick and choose for you to reproduce in your exam as your basic information mentioned for section one. Now, section one, if you see last 5 years questions, you're talking about strategic options. Suitability, feasibility. Then we are thinking, should we do this? Should we do that? Should we expand? Should we contract? Should we buy the comparator? Should we see these kind of top level scenarios, which are quite based on the exam based marking approaches that you have pre-seen information, you took the information given in the case, and then you reproduce them in the final sections, and then you see the what's the new information, and then you have a proper closing. Always when you close section number one, as, as a strategic managers, we never say yes and no. This is not our mandate. We are management accountant. We report to board and board take the decisions. Our role is taking these are the pros and these are the cons. So always those students who don't take any position, don't you may be very excited about environment and this and that. You can say yes, yes, we have to take this environment friendly. I will suggest you no, don't do this. Never, never do this. You always focus yourself on a rational. This is, you tell the management, yes, this is good. This seems challenging. Up to you. This is more promising. What's more better? You need to work around those ways. Now, this is, I guess, all about the section number one, which is a very good area for scoring, and you can really get good marks. Now, I'll give you some behavioral challenges when it comes to the real exam. So, suppose you started your exam in the beginning, your fingers are not that way subtle on the keyboard, your eyes are in the process of settling. So 10 to 15 minutes you will spend to take the full energy efficiency to reach to an efficiency level. Like we start a car. It's in the especially in the winter, so it takes some time to warm up, and then the efficiency really comes. Same way for you as a human being when you sit in exam. So first 10 to 15 minutes are very challenging. Because you are just reading and you are not doing much. But don't worry, increase keep in your mind, this information should be in your mind as you get your exam. You have to start, if it is a report format, write the report. I know some students, and they what they did is they just jumped to the answer. They didn't do a proper um, introduction and closing, or they didn't address the title reporting to, and if it is an email format, they didn't write the subject. This will really create a bad impact for the examiner. So you need to make sure that you are exactly doing what is a requirement for a strategic manager. Being a CIMA, it's a big qualification, and you are doing the last exam, so you should know how to do a report writing. So these are small things, but really, really important. So let's move towards section two, which is the favorite section for so many people who are from accounting background. They always like number. Well, what I saw in the number in this students, what they do is really concerns me. Whenever even I teach, whenever it comes to ratios, calculations, they immediately pull out the calculator, try to base themselves on calculations. Oh, that's not required at all. Yeah, I mean, you can do your exam without calculator for sure. Um, Minorly, you may need it or a very small time. The most challenging in the exam is the time management. So, yeah, more information in your mind, and you have very less time. So only thing is that you what to produce, what to reproduce, what to write, and what new information, how to incorporate. That's the biggest challenge of the exam if you are a really well prepared student. Some students, what they do, I saw, if you ask any question, they just write two, three lines directly. And they think that, yes, this is the answer, but that's not the way. You have to make a background, you have to give some pre seen information, you have to include the new information, and then you need to give your supporting argument so management can take decision on. So this is the same with finance, accounting portion. You can see that we have a company has consolidated statement of financial profit and loss. So 2020 versus 2021. You can see sale has increased, cost also increased, and GP also increase. We'll see in percentage term how much it is still. Finance costs remain constant and tax expenses slightly increased. So you can see the profit of the year is also company is in profit. You have statement of changes in equity, which is very important for the shareholder. They want to see how much dividend they got and what was the opening money and what is the closing money. That is really, really important for them. So you can see that the retained earning for the year, which is obviously retained, which is opening balance, then you have a profit for the year coming from income statement, and then you can see 97 is the, say, all figures are in millions. So if 42, almost 40 something, 48, 49% you give as a dividend. Oh my God, that's too much dividend. This dividend means that the company is not investing in R&D, infrastructure, or project. They are just giving the money back to shareholder, and that's why they are happy because they are getting a huge dividend. So this is an observation that must need to be highlighted in the exam. If you don't highlight this point, you are losing a very important aspect of the financial statement, which is very close to the examination heart. Examiner marker want to see that the student really hit this point because dividend policy is really important for the shareholders and other stakeholders. So here we go. This was a very important point. That's why I put this. And look at their assets. So property, plant, and equipment because they are in production. So there it was 330, which increased 358. Goodwill means that they have acquired some company in the past, so they paid extra and get it as a goodwill. Development cost is increasing, trade receivables are increasing because sale is increasing on the other side. And if you see the bank is also increasing, but look at this 38 million NS in account. Such a huge liquidity, huge. So idle money has an opportunity cost. Don't be happy your pocket has 1 million when you go to office. No, you can't do that. You have to define your optimal cash and the rest you have to invest. So this is a cash-rich company, means we can invest, we can buy, we can acquire some business, we should utilize money That's also a very key important point to mention in your exam. If you don't mention this point again based on the past paper analysis, we can see that this is a really important point to mention. No matter what's the situation in your exam, you have to highlight these 2 points which I told you. Share capital is the same, retained earning has been changed. You have borrowings is almost the same. Trade payable because of more sale, more stock, payable would definitely increase. Tax liability has been reduced, so means that a lot of tax has been paid this year. Now look at the competitors. Competitors equal size. I will compare her. If you go back, so you can see that the hot air sales in 2020 is 699, while their sales is 790. So means they are a little bit more bigger than hot air. They have operating cost and expenses. They are both in profit. This year they have better profit. And you can see, oh my God, that's the same point. Dividend, 82. Oh my God. You have retained earning 130 and you give 82. It's a huge amount of dividend. Means that you are not investing in your company, your R&D, your other expansions. You are giving your money back to shareholders just to make them happy. It's your dividend policy, and it's going to affect your strategy, because strategy, budgeting, and how much money you have is all aligned. They need to be together. Here you are, you have the banks. So in banks, they have 32 million, which is last year they have 28 million, and that's a huge amount. And you need to fix on that. Very important, you have to mention whether it's mentioned in question or not. As pre-seen information, you should show your knowledge that you have full knowledge about shareholders' price. So you can see that there was a time it was 20, there was a time it becomes 60 plus, and on average. So, and you can see that in all the CIMA exams, we always are given with the beta. So we have to write in exam beta is 1.12 and the ungraded beta is this much. Then the examiner marker will be very happy from you, because these are the area where we need to convince them that yes, because it's a strategy. So anything company does, share price go up in efficient market and don't go down if they are bad. That's the good way to handle. Now, this is I wrote it summarized for you, and reproduction would be really likely to have better results for you. So, Hotwire is a profitable company, is growing, and it grows revenue by 8.2% in 2021, which is quite good, of course. Recession times, everything, but they are growing. Profitability performance measure in 2021 compared to 2020 is there is a slight downturn. It's a mature, successful company, and but we can see that they are stagnating in a situation where you can see that things are not going like Apple. Like 100 shares, 700 shares, 700 become 900. Zoom, like a company like Zoom, Neo, $8, 70, now $70. So this is what is called stagnating. Despite the forecast, Google sales of heat pump will overtake gas boiler by 2025. Now, product mix in 2021 was almost exactly the same. On the other hand, your competitors also well established, growing. His rate of growth was much lower than hot. So that's a good sign to tell the examiner. Overall, in all the profitability performance measures, they have outperformed hot higher in 2021. Also, performance improved according to the most of these measures in 2021, where hot hires worsened. So, this kind of summarized analysis is going to give an impression to the examiner that yes, this student has good knowledge of things. And your USPs is that boilers are cheaper, as we saw in the first case. In these uncertain economic times, it looked like Thermic has managed to improve its performance, while Hotel has struggled to maintain. So it's a very important point as a comparison. Now, these are the ratios which are already calculated. You don't need to see any kind of um, calculations, calculator, or you don't need to memorize any kind of formula. This is a strategic level where you want to know how to use them. So I put it in front of you. What you need to do is you have to write, not in the table form, in a paragraph, that the capital employed for Hota is in 2021 become 21.1%, asset turnover become 1.4, 16.9, 23. So you have to memorize these ratios and you have to write in a paragraph for showing that you have memorized them, you understand them. Because in any case, in the exam, you can open your case study and you can see your financial figure and you can calculate, but you have no time to click even. Time is very less. You have to write a lot. So be organized, be planned. So these are the comparator ratios. These two ratios you have to produce in a paragraph and in comparative with the comparator, and examiner is going to like you, love you, because that's the way examiner want a student to prepare. So Hotire has not increased in boring between 20 and 21. Gearing ratio was quite low, and gearing ratio is low is very good because your long-term sustainability comes from gearing. And the other ratio is higher, but not significantly, so it's fine. You have to compare yourself with the industry or a competitor. So in that case, it's fine. Interest coverage was higher. Finance cost is under 12% of the operating profit, and of course, there's a risk associated with it. While hotels stay constant for interest rate, which is a very good thing because they can plan their things in a better way. Hotels looks to have a better credit rating, so this is a good advantage. While low gearing ratios is also good, Otter paid out 42 million, which was 43% of the profit. Oh my God, that's too much. I told you this is not good. The share price is approximately 47 at the moment. Yeah, this is the paragraph which is very, very much required for share movement between approximately N20 and N30 between mid 2019 and 2021. Barter rose dramatically, and the slightly downturn in profitability performance in 2021 has disappointed the market. So the share price has fallen. So this is a very, very important point to reproduce in the exam. Now let's talk about beta. Always don't forget beta. Beta is very important for examiner, and you have to mention your ungeared beta, how you calculate, what's the formula. You don't need to do show in the exam. No need, just go to the point. I mean, you have pre-seen information, you have a lot of time, you have calculated it, and you have memorized it. What's the problem in that? This is the way it works. And you have to tell examiner just your knowledge. What is beta? Beta is a measure of systematic risk. What is a systematic risk available in the market? And happening to company from the fluctuation which is not in our control. That's what is the systematic risk. It's the measure of volatility. So as volatility goes up, one plus, one less is less volatile. Overall, OTR is a profitable company, and I'm concluding it for your exam. So you have to reproduce. It's a healthy company. It has 38 million cash. Its gearing ratio is 32.9. It is A9, and they have enough interest coverage for 8.5 times. So it means that they can raise further debts, and they have cash. They have expansion. They can do whatever they want, and there are risks associated with it, so we don't suggest anything 100%. We always give this is good, this is challenging. Mr. Board, the board decide what to do. So this is also interesting. Now let's go and discuss the last section. This section I'm not going to put much time. It's all in front of you because risk and governance is a very, very easy area. Now, first of all, what's the most important is when you see every case study of CIMA exams give you an organizational structure. Why? Why? Why they tell you this is CFO, this is CEO, this is a non-executive director, and these are their backgrounds and qualification. It's just not for fun. It has meaning because right people, right positions, very important. Wrong people in a right position is a bad combination. Company will go in hell. So that's why we have to very, very minutely memorize the designation, name of the persons, so you can reproduce in the exam. And especially the problem one who is not relevant and they put them in the board. And always pre-check number of executives, officer and number of non-executive and check independence. Are they independent? And the audit committee, do they have a financial expert? Do they have? Yeah. If they don't have, it's an observation. So I can see in the case, I made it easy for you. You don't need to go here and there. Just reproduce the structure of the board shows a good mix of executive, non-executive. Although there is no director of IT or HR, responsibility lies with the CFO and Kia. In this modern world, you need an IT head. You can't put old potatoes away, all the things. You need to make organizational structure which has defined roles and responsibility and communication. This is really important. Risk management we have to see as very important and we have to highlight. It shows a commitment to minimize risk and maintain a sound internal control system so the business remain a going concern. For a good governance perspective, a risk register is really essential. So risk, we have to define what is a risk register, identify the risk and which company has. Every bank has different, hot hire has different risk. So we have to identify, then we have to put the controls and see what risk goes. And hot hire principal risk has some of the key sections. So we have to see what is the risk and impact. High risk, low risk, high impact, low impact. And if it was produce a risk register, then rating on the likelihood. So you will scale them. It's very important. Date of the risk, follow up, numerical values. These are basic risk things. Those who works in audit, risk management, they all know these things. So you have to reproduce this. Very important because examiner want you to write its ring bells in his sound. His yeah, that you know what are the key areas. Because you have to lead the organization once you become a qualified CIMA. You have to be a management accountant, can be a CFO, director of finance, and work closely with CEO and the board and can bring all these things to them. It's gonna make a lot of difference in the organizational life. Other suggestions for the risk register would be a residual risk. So you have control risk, you have inherent risk, you have risk of fire, you have risk of, in this case particularly, I'm a systematic risk and systematic risk is all you can mention. That's making a difference. Cyber risk is really important because cybersecurity is a big issue. I mean, in London, everywhere I see the new scope of IT is metaverse, cybersecurity, cloud security. Everything is on cloud, so cybersecurity has become really important. If someone hacks your data, your reputation will go lost. Imagine like HSBC Standard Charter, if they have no cyber risk, someone hacked the account, clean all the money, and they are unable to get. So, what will be the respect of a bank? No respect. Same for hot tire and the competitor. They have to work on reputation, and of course, they need good people, so they need good HR practice because they have big employees. So, they need to work on training and development with innovation and creativity. It's going to help them. So these are all the things. Environmental is really, really important in this exam. Don't forget cyber, staff, and environment. Environment, you can write one paragraph because the vision of Nordland government is to zero tolerance to carbon. So environment risk is very, very important. Write it and get the marks. And there are risks associated with gas boilers and mention them, heat pumps, and risk associated with investment in feasibility of expansion. So you can't see the systematic risk, unsystematic risk, fluctuation risk, how much currency will destabilize, trust rate will go up and down. These are all the risks we have to take care of, downside and upside risk. And a risk for mitigation to cybersecurity, I told you, is very important. They need to appoint someone really cool and smart, effective in IT team. So then they will be in control. Oh, that's amazing. That's lovely. So we did our overview with the most important points that you need to know. These points will make sure that you memorize them, you have ability to read, but use fastly in your exams so you can get better eye of the examination marker because these are the things markers examination markers are really strong guys. They are very well knowledge equipped, so they are the things that they understand and they want you to be a part of that understanding. So if you go my way, the success is your way. With this believe that you will work out these things, and I wish you a good luck for your exam. And always every exam bring you some experiences. These experiences are valuable. Never think about pass and fail. Think about effort. And effort should be strong. You will be a winner. Best of luck.